shit that goes into a dog. Turned up, yeah. So like when I had to feed the dog and clean up its shit, I didn't really think that I forgot about that. So I got Allie, and then I just got a few more dogs, mainly just comfort. You know, you and I talked about loyalty is the biggest thing for me, and then just like protection. I mean, the American Pitbull Terrier is a phenomenal, loyal dog that is great to have in the house. You know, good, always good with my family, all that stuff.
So where'd you grow up?
Washington. We would take them up in the hills, and they could just play with snow all day. Like it was a ton of fun. But that's what got me into dogs. And then with the store, like, you know, we were doing dogs for a while, and I was working a job, and then we were going to dog shows, and then just an opportunity arose, and we just took it and ran with it since. Like, I have 12 dogs now. They're fun. Like I am happy at home with rubber boots on, some overalls, just playing with dogs.
Yeah,
like that's where I'm the happiest. You know, dogs are much more fun to be around than people for the most part. So.
Right. It's like my Wednesday, like tomorrow, my social day, like I just have dogs. I don't see clients that day. Like they just drop off, but it's just dogs. Like it's like a day off. I mean, there's a certain level of stress. I mean, there's dogs, and I gotta make sure everybody's good. But overall, like it's a pretty easy day. Like it's just dogs. I'm tired during the day, but not like it's not the same tired as when I'm constantly with clients.
People, keeping a conversation going.
Sure.
You had 24 dogs. You said at your last. That's a lot.
You
guys that?
So I'm actually at a second day because I want to start splitting the group up. So I'm gonna go Wednesdays and Fridays now. So which is good. But so who was your first dog?
Her name is Allie.
Allie?
Yeah.
What kind of dog? Pitbull.
She was about 45 pounds, just very more gamey.
Yeah.
That was back
like
then.
old school mean. Yeah.
They were fun. And then I got Kato. He was my second dog. I got him back when bullies were starting to mix breeds. So he was a bigger dog. He was about 80 pounds. He was a little fucker. That's why I don't like males. I like female dogs, but he cared about himself and himself only. And I think the majority of males are like that. But Kato was a cool dog, and then Amy had Andre, and so that's how I met Amy. Is she was tanning in my backyard, and her dad was my neighbor, and my dogs went. I opened the back door, and they just ran over there and was fucking with her. And so,
Ever since.
yeah, just but for the most part, I mean that's it. Just loyalty for me. Loyalty is the biggest thing, and I sleep very good at night. I don't ever worry about anything.
So I know I do, and most people have that like one in a million dog. Like we all had that dog in our life that's like we didn't really know a lot, but they was just with us. Like they were like our loyal dog. We maybe didn't do a lot of work, but they was just like in sync with us. Like, so who was that for you?
My dog was Allie.
Yeah.
She was the best dog. She was small, but she was freaking anything. Whatever I did, you know, she had been through hell with me. You know, I mean, we were younger, did dumb shit.
Yeah.
She did everything. She was the best dog. I probably, like, when I lost her, it was horrific because it was nasal cancer, and she would constantly bleed out of her nose. Just heavy blood. And that kind of stuff sucks, you know. But she was the best dog I ever had. Lawyer's second.
I'm gonna tell Camo.
That was not my freaking dog. Lawyers are, yeah.
That's funny.
But I mean, yeah, Allie was probably the best dog I ever had. And it's probably based on where I was in my life, the things I was learning, she was right there alongside. And that's, I think, one of the biggest things is they're there for you no matter what. You know, you come home and you whatever you went through, it doesn't matter. You know, they're happy as hell to see you, and that's it. You know, and it's still like that with dogs now. Like we don't ever really have an upset customer that comes in here because why would you be upset? It's a dog store.
Sure. Yeah, they're coming in to spend money for your dog.
It's very rare that someone there.
They're coming in to buy good quality
No, they
food
mad when
and
they
products.
buy us Costco set.
Yeah, I mean, like I think we, you know, companies will get upset and it's easy fixes, you know, things that. So something that's easy to fix, but very rarely a bunch of dog people are unhappy.
Well, and you guys, the nice thing is like, you guys carry quality products across the board, which is nice. Like, it's not like PetSmart, you can have a whole range where like small percentage, especially when it comes to food and nutritional products, is good, but the rest is just garbage. Like, people come in here because they want better for their dogs. They're not just like, I just gotta go get food, I don't really care what. You know, I want to go get a collar, I really don't care what. You know, they come in, so it's cool.
I think the cool thing about the store is that all of us here, we use everything, you know, and I tell customers this all the time. But like they trust us because of what we're talking about, like our experiences and why we have dogs, you know, like why you have dogs and you have dogs. And you know, it's just they trust what we say because we use everything, and I don't know, they just know. The majority of them know like a lot of our business.
Yes. So you mentioned something, and this is something I don't know. This is like off on a little tangent, but like, so I don't know really like the history of like American Bull necessarily. So like, when did that start? And tell me what they crossed with. Tell me like how we got to the bullies that we know today, from what I know as far as because I'm American Pitbull Terrier guy. Like I know a lot about that, but as far as when
A lot of it back then was majority it's like paper hanging papers, right? So if I'm gonna breed, this sounds like shit, but it's true. I'm gonna breed my female American Pit Bull with this Crescent Canario, but I'm gonna paper it as I bred my female American Pit Bull with this male American Pit Bull.
Gotcha.
And so, and just throughout time, you know, and one of the hardest breeds I think for standards, right, is XLs. XLs, the standards are so difficult, and they're not solid because I like a taller dog. Camel's 24 and a half inches tall, and the standard's 23. You know, so the XL standards are pretty rough, and they just started mixing all these breeds, and like I called ADBA, and they pulled everybody's papers because ADBA is very, very pivotal.
Right.
And their stud books were all messed up, and that's a lot of what it was, just crossing breeds, you know, for specific reasons, and a lot of them did it, for basically just temperament, okay? Yeah, temperament and size, I think mass.
So what were they looking for as far as temperament? Because I'm a function guy. Like I like the function of the dog first before I'm gonna follow that.
I think it's like your nanny dog.
Yeah. They want a little bit
Your
softer.
companion dog. Yeah, there's the actual definition, you know, because
Right.
yes, the pit bull was a nanny dog, but they try to breed more towards that.
Gotcha.
Less aggression.
Yeah.
Or
A little bit more family friendly,
Yes.
like average person friendly. Yeah.
Which, and then a lot of it was looks too. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of it was adding mass. Like I have a female. Okay, I have a female at home, and I think I've told you about her. You know, she comes from an old line, and her dad on paper is not her dad in real life. Like her dad, well, no, her dad on paper is her dad, but her dad's dad is not her real dad on paper because her dad's dad is a Crescent Canary, like half. I know that, you know, and that's how they got the XL bully. You know, was just like crossbreeding, and like Camel is much more mastiffy, you know,
Right.
And then pockets. I don't know what pockets. French bulldogs, English bulldogs,
Right.
like Catahoula. That's what
Throw-
a lot of the color comes
to
from.
get the morale and that. Yeah.
Yep.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's kind of like it.
So I mean, it was based on hanging papers, which is illegitimate and lies, but it's developed into for the most part a solid breed. There's a long way to go. Pockets, I think, and standards are pretty set. Pockets are probably which one's the best? The best one. It's the most set.
I think standard, you know, like your standard dog.
Standards.
Yeah. I'd say so.
Like micros and stuff, they don't show. That's not an ADKC class. Because that's what.
Yes. They look for the confirmation, the actual breed type.
And then the other problem is UKC, because all my dogs are UKC, but UKC, probably like 80 or 90% of the bullies today are still registered Pitbull under UKC. And, you know, so Joker's American Bully registered UKC. All my other dogs are UKC Pitbull. So it's just kind of hard because if I want to stud out Camo, who's a bully, but he's UKC Pitbull, and you got a UKC bully female, they can't breed because it's two different breeds. And nobody wants to switch over to bully, and that's why. Because you close yourself off to a lot.
I find it interesting. I mean, I like the evolution of breeds in general, like all breeds and how dogs have evolved over time. It's always been very fascinating to me as far as like why we started breeding certain dogs to get this dog, and then going back hundreds, thousands. I find it interesting how things diverge.
Isn't the Pressa only been around 10 years?
But it's been around a lot longer than that.
But like, I mean, it's classified as a breed.
It's classified as a breed. It hasn't been very long.
Corso's too, no?
Corso been around for a while.
Longer?
Yeah. Corso go all the way back to Italy. They've had them long time.
I don't know, it's interesting.
But with Corsos, like, there's a lot of different looks for Corsos. I mean, lots of different looks. So, yeah, I like a taller, more athletic looking dog. You know, like I love Joker's look. I love Riker's look. Like they're big, but they still have that leanness and that shape and the musculature. You know, but I also like at the weight pull event, the guys that came up from Mexico. Like I like their dogs. That's just old bloodline. Like
Oh, you were there.
like
Dude,
50,
you
know, 45 to 55 pounds, lean.
You pulled him, hooked him up to the sled,
Yeah.
walked away, done.
Dog pull him. Oh, yeah. He just walked up, quick hooked it, walked away. He walked to the end. By the time he got there, dog's done. He unhooks the dog, lets it go, and it goes back to his tail and goes to sleep.
That's like the
Done.
loyalty.
We're
thing.
talking
That's-
1,600 pounds. This dog, like, yeah.
That's
Yes.
loyalty. If the dog, they'll do anything for you if you
Amazing.
treat them the right way. You know.
Amazing.
Yes.
It was cool. It was really cool to see.
No, you looking at the comments too?
You got a comment?
No, just.
They're talking crap as Tell's phone's going off, and so that your notifications are very loud.
That's why I don't answer my phone all the time.
All right, Edwin, you're up. So now that's a good segue from breeding to the show guy. How'd you get started with dogs?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do. Come on, don't tease us.
No. I bought my first dog. I bought my first dog, Remy, and then unfortunately he passed away. But that's how I got into it. Buying Remy, like following the bully pages.
How old were you?
Dude, I think this was like 4 years ago. So 24. And you know, buying him got me looking on Instagram for different breeders, and then that's how I got Gracie. And then Gracie, I mean, you know, I did everything with her from trying to get her to do bite work because I thought I didn't know the breed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what the breed was, and she clearly did not have that in her at the time.
Right.
So we did that, and then we started. I asked the same trainer if he knew how to show dogs, and so he did some training, and then I did some research myself, and then after that, it just led into other stuff. The store happened. We got super busy.
So you got your first dog 4 years ago. And you're
Yeah,
holding
he's like 20 something years
Yeah.
old.
Dang.
I mean, I had a pit bull that we got, but growing up, my stepdad always had cats.
Okay.
So we tried a dog, and the dog ate the cat.
Well, you
And
know.
so my dad took the dog away when I enlisted.
Wow.
So I left, and so the dog
Right.
was gone.
You'll never own cats, will you?
No, I will never. No. Yeah, so got my first two dogs like right away, and then we got Riker, of course, and then it just kind of grew from there. But to lead into the show stuff, we trained Gracie enough to be handled by anybody. We were in Oklahoma a long time ago. First time in Oklahoma. We were,
In December, it was freezing.
and so we went to the show, and I paid somebody to show my dog. and Tel and Anissa both were like, no, you need to show her because she listens to you better than she will anybody else. And I didn't have the confidence to do it, and these guys were like, no, do it. So anyways, the handler handled 3 of the 4 shows, and I did the last one, and she happened to get, I think, first place with me and third place with the handler. And so after that, that's when I started training her a little bit more, and it just took off from there.
Got it.
Yeah. And so, you know, I took dog training school out here in North Phoenix, watched a lot of videos, watched your trainings. Yeah.
There's a lot. There's so much content.
Took a couple seminars for showing dogs like AKC style,
Yeah.
all dressed up and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I haven't had a dog in
What are you, 27?
28.
Yeah, it's a big 28 right now.
Yeah, dude, that's me though.
For real. What do you, so, okay, so how old are you?
38.
I'm 41. How old are you?
34.
Yeah, you're not baby. So what do you want to do with dogs?
Huh?
Like 10 years from now, what do you want to do with dogs?
Oh, dude, well, like I tell you, I want a training facility. Like I want obviously all of us to grow. You know, Pitbull Store branch off to bigger metaphors. We've talked about, you know, so many ideas that can branch off from the store.
Yeah.
And I would like one of them to be like a dog training facility. You know, attached with the Pitbull Store, have like a kiosk or whatever. Ideas are endless. Like we brainstorm. We were on the road 18 hours and we're just like brainstorming of what the next thing is.
We slept though.
Yeah, on the way back we slept, but yeah. I don't know, man. A training facility would be so badass. Like, you know, I've dreamed of having like a ring, like an indoor ring where I can have clients come in and that's all they want.
Yeah.
And we have a ring versus a mock-up. That's
They
too
have shows-
small,
Yeah,
you
they
know.
don't show there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's long term, but who knows?
You never know. Long term. You never know. It could happen right away.
Yeah.
Dating.
You let me last.
Yeah.
Myself last.
No, I go, I'll be like, look at the time. We gotta go.
How was that?
I don't know. I got into dogs when I was like 12. My friend found just an old school, just American Pitbull. She was all white. Found her roaming the street. She was covered with ticks. And called me and asked me if I wanted a dog. First dog I ever owned. Cleaned her up. She was the most loyal dog ever. I could walk her off leash, no training. She would stay by me, everything.
And I wanted $1 million.
Yeah. That was found on the street.
Yeah.
And since then, I've always loved dogs after that. And now I'm just starting to get back into dogs. I went to prison, did all my time and everything. I went without a dog for like 15 years or so. And then we ended up rescuing my female Jade, which she's now 6. We got her at 3. And she just needed a home.
Right.
And we ended up with another one. This guy right here. This guy.
Everyone's very happy about it.
No, she wasn't. She was really mad when I showed up at her work. She was like, "Look at our new dog."
What you got, Thor?
No, Jay.
Jay got Jay.
Oh.
Yeah, I went and I picked her up. I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go see how nice this dog is. I might be getting a dog." And so I went out there and I stopped at Applebee's where her and Tel were both working at, and pulled up and servers and her and everybody comes out and I got this dog with me. And she wasn't too pleased for about 3 days, and then she fell in love with her.
Nice.
And then we had her for a couple years, and then somebody was looking to rehome Thor, which is our torso, and they got a hold of Edwin, and Edwin was like, "Hey, you're looking for a bigger dog? Why don't you go look at this one?"
Here you go.
Yeah. So I went and picked up him. So I'm still starting to get back into dogs. I do have them there on my house dogs.
Yeah.
Starting. You're a bad mom.
Into dogs myself. At my house and stuff like that. But I started when I was about 12 years old, and I was given a stray dog.
That's what's up. That's good. I know you do. How long you do it?
Total, about 12. And so 3 different sentences.
It's a
Yeah.
A lot of time.
I've been out free and clear for how long now? 3 years?
Yeah.
3 years.
That's really, it's hard being away from dogs,
Yeah.
but it makes you appreciate more when you're back.
Yes,
That's for sure.
yeah, that does. Sure does.
Nice.
What about you?
What about me?
Yeah.
Man, my dog story goes. I'm 41. My dog story goes back to when I was 5.
Wait, mind you, if you guys listen to the last episode, Tim is like 8 feet tall and buff as hell.
My dog story goes.
Tell us how
To
you.
go back. So, 5 years old. I'm from California, Sacramento, California, and I wanted a dog. We had a couple cats. They were really my mom and dad's cats. And I wanted a dog. I was 5 years old. My parents said, "Okay, we'll get a dog. A boy should have a dog." I made my little brother, and we went through the whole thing. You're gonna have to feed him. You're gonna have to pick up the dog poop in the backyard. And all these things. Okay, yeah. So my parents found a breeder. So I don't know. I just remember we were driving way out into the country, and I'm in the back of our S10 Blazer, and we go look at this puppy, and it's this like really like white, yellowish white lab, and it's just like the cutest puppy ever. And we get in, he's in the car with us headed home, and it's on my lap. We got a towel. And I'll never forget that smell of Casey is what we named him. We named Casey, and he was just a lab. Like he's just a family dog. Like we didn't really do a whole lot of training with him, but more or less picked up poop, took care of him and stuff like that. So that was my very first dog. So he died. I got him when I was 5 years old. He died when I was 14. The summer I was 14 before I went into high school. And that was my first experience with losing something that I loved, like death. And that was super hard. Super hard. Like hit me like a freight train. Because he was really my dog. Like he would sleep with me. Like I had a twin bed growing up, and like if he got in the bed and as I got bigger, the bed was too small, I would sleep on the floor. All these things. Like that was my boy. So that was really, really tough. But like I have been for all dogs, like I went in and my mom said, "You can wait out here," because he was sick and we had to help him cross over. So I said, "No, I want to be with him." So a couple of years later, family got another dog, another lab. That was Trooper. He was a good dog. We did a lot more training with him. He was really more my dad's dog. My dad did a lot of work with him. I was in high school playing sports, and I went away to college. So I didn't have such like the same connection with Trooper. Lab. Yeah. So, but my dad did a lot of work with him. He was a great dog, a lot smarter than Casey. Like he had a lot more work in him. He liked to do stuff. He did some agility with him. A lot of cool stuff. And then went to college, didn't have a dog. Then when I got out of college, I got my 1 in a million dog, at least up to this point. And that was Teddy, and I rescued him from a shelter I was in Colorado at the time, so I rescued him from a shelter in Pueblo, Colorado. And I've been looking for a dog. He came up on Pet Finder as urgent, and he was like this black shepherd. They had him listed as a Newfoundland border collie mix. We were in Colorado, and so like, okay, it's colder. Newfoundland's good for the cold. So we go down there. I drive 3 hours. I was supposed to be in Wyoming at my ex-wife's house, parents' house for a weekend or whatever. We were leaving, and I'm like, I gotta go get this dog. He's urgent. So I drive 3 hours, get Teddy. His name was Daryl at the time. Cute little dog, and came out head low, real shy. Drive 3 hours back. He throws up in the car, sleeps in the car on the way back. Like, oh, that's, and I'm just like, what did I do? But that dog, I took him everywhere. At the time, I managed a health club in Colorado, and he went everywhere. Rarely on a leash, and he'd go to work with me. He'd hang out in the gym with clients. And I remember one time we're in the lobby, and a member brought in their new baby, and the baby's on the floor, and he crawled right up to the baby and holds him up. So he just rolling over and the baby falling over and stuff. So he was a 1 in a million dog. He's like, go hiking with him. He's just always with me. You know? And he died, and that was another train wreck. So because he was all through my 20s, I had that dog. He died at 10 years old. He had valley fever for about 5 years when we worked through it. And that hit me really, really hard. That actually sent me into a pretty deep depression, which kind of led me to really getting involved with dogs on another level. I started volunteering at the county shelter to work with dogs. It was kind of distraction, but I wanted to help dogs. I wanted to give back. So I ended up meeting my mentor, Lynn Boki, who started the School of Dog Psychology. And he, in a lot of ways, helped me learn how to not necessarily work with dogs. He did, definitely, and I had a good knack for it anyways, but process all the grief even from Casey, going all way back when that I was holding on to at Teddy. That kind of, what he would say is it cleared my windshield. The whole time I've been driving with this dirty windshield of holding on to the loss from Casey, holding on to the loss from Teddy. And I processed all that and learned to see it from a different perspective, and the whole world opened up, you know. So, but at the county shelter, I had a good knack for working with difficult dogs, whether they were really shut down, fearful, or aggressive. I remember one of the staff members there. It was these two dogs, these two pit bulls, one blue one, one kind of red chocolate. They were not to be put together, and as a rule, brand new dogs going in don't get put in the same kennel. Well, one of the staff members put these two dogs in the same kennel, and unfortunately I was outside cleaning, and I hear it popping off in there, and he's in the kennel, and he's like stepping on one, and I pretty much threw him out of the kennel. I was like, get out of the way. And I grabbed both dogs up, I snatched both dogs up, I got them separated, I threw one in the kennel across the way, got this one squared away, and I'm literally like, this is staff member, I'm volunteering. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, and like, he's literally kicking the dog, stomping on one of the dogs. So from there, one of the dogs actually got put down as fallout from it, even though he put them together in the same kennel, which is shitty. So I worked on their kind of second chance behavior evaluation team. A lot of times staff would come have me help with a aggressive dog or evaluated or fearful dog. So from there, then I was like, I need to work with dogs. At the time, I was a financial planner, so that was my primary, but I did rehabilitate dogs on the side on a very exclusive kind of case-by-case basis. I would take on one, maybe two dogs at a time with great success. I did really well. And then
And this was off of your mentor?
this is from my mentor, yeah. I mean, just learning, just doing dogs. And at that time I had Bella, Brooks, Sally, Arthur, Sleepy. So I had a lot of dogs, you know, relatively. And so I learned with my own dogs. I had struggles with my own dogs. And then flash forward, I kind of took a break from dogs. Life happened. And then I went to prison, and the dogs got ripped away from me. And I got ripped away from my dogs. And my big thing is being there for my dogs, especially in the end. And that's very, very important to me. And I lost my dogs when I was away. And that, I mean, I'll be honest, that's something I probably won't ever forgive myself for. And I'm okay with that, but because I wasn't there for them, because of decisions I made. So, yeah, so now I'm out. And I had 2 years in prison to plan this next half of my life. I got out when I was 40, I'm 41. So I had 2 years to plan everything that I want to do with dogs and accomplish, and how I want to help people and dogs live happier lives together, live happier, healthier lives together, be more balanced and enjoy life together. 2 years, 24/7 to think about it. That's all I did. That and work out. And I read books, and I wrote, and I planned, and I thought, and now I'm really just executing it. You know, I've been blessed it was a blessing going away because it took me away from financial planning, which I really didn't enjoy. I was just good at it, but I'm meant to do dogs. And had it not been for prison, I might still be financial planner. You know, the money was good, it was easy. I might still be doing dogs on the side, but it was a blessing, and then I've been blessed every day since. Really, like I have great dogs now that every day they do something that impresses me and that I'm grateful for. I mean, we have a couple dogs now that the things and the way that they put other dogs at ease is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, and it's something I can't teach another dog. I can't.
They're like therapy.
Yeah, I mean, they'll literally take a very anxious dog, and one of them a while ago he got up on the shepherd was laying on the picnic table, and he's very anxious, very insecure shepherd, and our dog Tonks got up there and just laid down next to him, like, and next thing you know, Deuce the shepherd, he's relaxing and calming down and just lay down next to him. I can't do that for a dog, you know. So to me, I really, really value it. And I guess the thing I find most amazing with dogs and people is working side by side with them. And like the weight pull, like that's such a beautiful thing. That's dogs and humans working side by side and having fun. And there's so much bonding and cooperation going on there, and communication. It's incredible. And same thing when I'm out working with dogs and my dogs are out there and they're communicating with other dogs and I'm reading them, they're communicating with me. It's amazing. And we can help dogs learn social skills. We can help dogs grow in their confidence and all of these things. So to me, I mean, we talked about that day I came into the Mesa store. I'll sit there and watch YouTube videos of dogs, working dogs, doing, whether it be cattle dogs working cattle, whether it be hog dogs hunting pigs, whatever it is. And I just love that's why I'm naming my company Synergy Cane9, because synergy means two entities coming together to achieve something greater than they could do on their own. And I know I talked about this before, but like thousands of years, dogs and humans came together, and we realized we could achieve survival better together than we could apart. And I just try to look for that everywhere with my clients and their dogs. How can I bring them together so that they can be better together than if they were apart? You know, even in dogs in the house, dogs are having problems. How do I bring these dogs together so that they get back to who they are and what they are? But I've had a lot of dogs. I've had a lot of dogs come and go. I've had a lot of client dogs that I've helped cross over that I've worked with. Sometimes I'm a grief counselor, you know. But I have a unique perspective on letting dogs go, and I've had to make decisions with younger dogs.
What's your perspective on that?
So
That shit's hard.
it's
Like,
super hard, and because of and I really try. I do. I'm glad you asked that, because I try to tell this to clients, but I think it's especially for people who we work with dogs. Like, it's inevitable. We know that when we get a dog, we know that all things being equal, we're gonna have to say goodbye to them before they say goodbye to us. Like, we're signing up for heartbreak at some point. You know, we're signing up for some sadness. We know that. So the way that I process it, the way that I deal with it, in a sense, and the way that my perspective is, well, I'll frame it. So with Teddy, when I lost him, and when I lost Casey, it was devastating. It was, all I saw was the loss and the pain and the sadness, and they weren't there anymore. Casey wasn't sleeping in bed with me anymore. All of these things, and when Teddy was gone, he was my dog for 10 years, and he wasn't there, and I lost, and all I felt, I didn't, it wasn't so much that I was feeling the sadness, I became the sadness. Like, it just consumed me. And what that does, what it did for me, is clouded over everything that Teddy, everything that Casey, everything that every dog I've ever had and that I've helped cross over. It clouds over everything that they taught me, every opportunity that they gave me, every moment of joy that I had with them, all of those things that are a dog's purpose. A dog's purpose, I believe, is to help us in some way, teach us something that helps us grow and learn, period. So, but if for me, if I stayed in that sadness, I miss all that. I'm not, and my mentor Lynn, he said, you're in a sense, you're kind of dishonoring the memory of your dog by staying in that sadness and being clouded over with all of the good and all of the opportunity that they gave you to feel things and to experience life and to learn. And
That's still hard.
it's just still super hard, you know. And what Teddy gave me was, from the time that Casey died at 14 to the time that Teddy died 16 years later, I didn't cry. 16 years I didn't shed a tear for anything until Teddy died. So part of that was my own fear that if I feel emotion, I'm either weak or all of a sudden the world's gonna collapse. I swear, if I feel any kind of emotion or softness, the world's gonna fall apart, right? The world can't handle my emotion. In his death, he showed me, enabled me to feel again, and it's okay. It's all right to feel like nothing bad's gonna happen. And so that was his gift to me.
Did you have to make a choice?
Yeah. He had
That's the hardest thing.
in the end he started having a couple seizures, and he had 3 seizures over the course of a week, and the last one, like, he would seize and like fall down and he couldn't get up and he'd panic, and the last one he just panicked and he peed himself, and I'm like, that's enough. I'm not gonna. He was 10 and a half at the time, maybe 11, and not gonna put him to bed. So I made that decision, and it was the right time, you know. But yeah, I look for the good and the gratitude that having them in my life gave me, you know. Yeah, it's still sad, but my other dogs need me. I can't become sadness again. I can't become depressed again because my other dogs rely on me. They still need me, so they keep me going and help me too when I have to do that. But ultimately, I smile. They're still with me. I see and I feel, and I'm grateful for the time that I spent. And I understand. I believe that their time with us, whatever dog comes in our life, their time with us is predetermined. It's a contract to come work with us and for us. They're here to show us something and provide it, and when their job's done, their job's done.
When I had Allie, she died. She had nasal cancer. So I knew it was coming. I was super selfish with Allie. Like, I should have let her go way before. I just couldn't do it. But I had my daughter, and she was born in April. October's when Allie left. But it was like, because you said it's like a contract. Like, this is how long I'm gonna be here for you. And it's like Eden was 6 months old, and Allie was like, okay, you have a daughter now, I'm gone. You know what I mean? Like, it was
time.
Yeah, it was like the time. I guess for better words, it couldn't be better.
Yeah.
You know?
When you know, and you know, it's. I think I tend to err on the side of when it's time, it's time. Like, my dogs have lived a good life and they're old and they're not like my girl Bella. She's 13, you know, and when the day comes that I get her tug toy off of the top of the refrigerator, and she's on the couch or she's out, and she doesn't jump up and come over, we're getting close, because she's a drivey dog. She that's her thing. She loves to work. She loves to play tug of war. She loves. So when she no longer has that spirit and that drive to do that, I know we're really close. And I don't want to prolong it, because for me, I'm a driving individual. I work hard. I go hard. I'm an athlete. I've always have been. And strip away that capability.
It's like retirement.
It's like, yeah, retirement. It's like, yeah, I mean, you know what? Yeah, there's a lot of things I can do, but at the end of the day, like, I'm driving. If I don't have my mental capacity anymore, or that drive anymore, or the physical capability, I'm good. I've lived my life.
You didn't get a choice. You know, that's what's hard to prevent.
Yeah.
That's what sucks, is when you don't get a choice. I'll ask people that, like, they'll be like, oh, I lost my dog. The first thing I say, how old is the dog?
Yeah.
the dog was older, I'm like, 15 years, that's cool. I mean,
Yeah, Remy passed away. I think he was 2, maybe 2. He overheated, but there was some other issues as well that we didn't know about. Yeah. Yeah, he was young.
and that's why I like Lawyer so much. Like, I almost lost Lawyer, and ever since that, I'm like, fuck that, that's my dog. Like, he's,
Yeah, y'all
That's
did
some sad
everything
shit.
for him.
my Lawyer.
I mean, so my boy Arthur, who I lost when I was in prison, I was in Montana when I got out, and I was working up there at a place called Happy Tails Lodge. They do a lot of boarding, they do a lot of daycare. I mean, we're talking they run 50, 60 dogs a day daycare. And I'm out there in the morning, and it's cold as hell, but it was clear, a little bit cloudy. And so Arthur, someone long ago, he was red brindle, and someone long ago was like, oh, he's Montana brindle, that's gorgeous, and it stuck with me, so I was like, Montana brindle, I don't know what that is. But if you look up Montana brindle, like, you see like cowhides that are I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Really?
Yeah, I never knew it. Somebody long ago, someone said Montana brindle, and I'm like, it just stuck with me. So I remember I'm out in one of the yards, and it's like 6:30 in the morning. I got dogs out potting. I just got to work, and the sun's rising, and the sky is reddish brown, and the way the clouds were, it looked brindle, and I was like, and it just hit me like, Arthur's right here, like, that's Montana brindle. I'm like, and I just sat there and stared, and I was like, holy shit, and like, yeah, I started crying. Like, Arthur, he was with me right there. Like, he came back to me, and I felt his presence. He's right there. Cool, So I believe like they never really leave us. I can be out in the yard with dogs, and all of a sudden I'll have a sense of something. Whether it be Sleepy or whether it be Casey or whether it be Teddy. Like, I'll have a sense like they're here right now. It's good. There's something there. So I don't think they ever really leave us. They just gotta go somewhere else. And the other way that I look at it too is I'm not a very religious person at all. I believe there's spirits and energy and all that kind of stuff, but I believe dogs go somewhere better than Earth. So that provides me comfort, because I know that like wherever they went, they're somewhere better. And so, and that's kind of what I tell people sometimes. Like, you know what? I know you're sad that he's gone, but be happy because he is somewhere better. We all, I don't care who you are, if you have a dog, if you've ever had dogs in your life, you believe they went somewhere better. I mean, we talk about the Rainbow Bridge or whatever you want to say, but I gotta believe that dogs go somewhere better. They deserve it above all else to go somewhere better. So I hang on to that too, where it's just, you know what? The interesting thing, I've only lost male dogs. Never lost a female. Which is interesting in my whole life. We're talking client dogs, personal dogs.
How many female dogs do you want?
I have two female dogs right now. Well, rated now 3. So,
I guess I've only lost one female, 2 females.
so I'll just tell if they're gone, like go run with my boys. So.
Man, that is some depressing shit.
I'm
just saying.
Nah, it's good.
But it's real, like you said, once you get a dog, you sign up for.
You already know.
It's
Dog insurance.
You already know. Yeah, you already know. So, yeah. That's kind of my dog story. Like, dogs really have saved my life at a lot of points in my life too. So, in turn, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have talent in what I do and have the abilities to do what I do, and I have the hunger to keep doing it. And in a lot of ways, it is to honor my dogs, to honor all dogs, and to give back.
It's like you always wonder, like you see homeless people on the road and they have a dog, right? You're like, why do they have a dog? But if you think like they're there, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they sleep in a bed. The dog doesn't care. Like
That's right.
they're there with you regardless. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're the fucking president, if you're you're a bagger at Fry's or whatever, the dog is there, and they'll comfort you.
Dogs don't judge us. Dogs don't judge
Lawyer
us.
judges me.
I mean, I think Tom's probably judges me too sometimes. He just looks at me like, really weird. Like I'll be dancing in the house and he's like laying like, you're really weird. Like, what are you doing? But that's the beautiful thing. Like
they fucking judges, man. He don't give me shit. He don't just look at me like I'm just
like
a
really,
peasant.
like really, bro. Like, come on.
But no, they'll be there for you at the end of the day. And like you and I were talking in the store a couple days ago. That's I think why everybody, well, for most of us, that's why we have dogs. Because they're there for you, they're loyal, and I mean,
100%. I mean, throughout my life, people come and go, and you know, I've always had some trust issues and abandonment issues with people, but I think everybody has that. But dog, I remember I got bullied in school a lot when I was younger, and so Casey was always there. Yeah. Why do you think I look this way now? Listen, man.
I'm scared of you.
As soon as my dad let me hit the gym, I'm hitting the gym. I'm going hard. Yeah. So I was bullied. I was picked on a lot. You know. And
For being too skinny?
yeah, dude. For being real skinny, I at an early age, like 4 or 5 years old, I was born with a cleft lip, and so I have a scar on my lip. That kids don't understand that, but they would make fun of me for that, and so yeah, and and I had braces at one point, glasses, the whole nine, and so I remember young age, like 6, 7, 8 years old. I had to get picked on at school. This kid named Sam, and when we were in Sacramento, he would call me fat lip, and he would make fun of me just incessantly. And I wouldn't always come home and tell my parents. I would come home, I'd run to my bedroom, Casey'd be with me, and I would literally just hold him and cry.
fuck, man.
I mean, so like he was there for me. I trusted him and felt safe enough with him to do that. When sometimes I wouldn't even tell my own parents. And it's not that they did a bad job or they were bad parents. It's just that was my dog. Like I knew no matter what, like he wasn't gonna make me feel anything, any type of way, tell me how to feel, whatever. He was just there for me, at that time of my life. And so
It's huge. That's why you're a dog.
that's why I'm a dog.
Because
Yeah, they always there. No matter what. I mean, man, I remember getting out of prison. Like I just want to see my dogs. Like, cause they took me to Tucson when I flew to Montana. And, I had my people just bring me two of my dogs, and I got to see them, and it's just like, God, that's huge. Cause I didn't get to say goodbye to my dogs. I literally got arrested, and the feds just disappeared me. I was on vacation in Mexico and got back and got arrested. I'm thinking I'm gonna go. I went to vacation thinking I'm coming back to see my dogs. So I didn't say goodbye. So I learned then too. Always say goodbye. Always say goodbye to people. Always say goodbye to dogs that you love and care about, because it might be the last time. You never know. So like I said, dogs have in a lot of ways saved my life. Sometimes they do it often, but they keep me going. For that, that's why. Even as a child, they saved my life. But so that's why I wanted it back. I owe that to them.
safety is like me and Edwin were out, and we have a store in California, and it was like what, midnight, 1 o'clock. We were dropping some stuff off. And we had a lawyer, and he was not even, I don't know how old he was, but I mean, in the area it's not bad, but we were like Bordertown, Pomona, and this one guy comes walking up, and I'm like, okay, this guy was shady. And so a lawyer, he's never been trained for anything like that. Well, lawyer's just looking like he's just fucking watching this guy. And I can feel in the leash, he's just subtly growling. He's not, you couldn't hear him, but I could feel it. And the guy's like, oh, all dogs like me. And I'm like, hey, no, not this dog. So like leaving the stores, like, I mean, our stores aren't in the greatest neighborhoods, and it's just like our wives work here, and for them to leave the store with Hallie, a dog that I know will bite somebody, like I feel comfort in that,
Or Gracie, she'll let you know, like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
She might not bite, but I'm here.
For sure.
I think somebody was breaking into one of our vans in Mesa, and Amy stepped out back, and she had Hallie, and Hallie just lit that guy up, started barking at him, and that's a huge thing for me. It's just safety, because, and like you said, fight or flight. Like that's the dog is gonna, they don't want to fight.
You know, yeah.
But I think it depends on kind of what is there.
Well,
you know?
they like, it's inherent in dogs to alert us to danger. And like, even if they're not gonna go forward and fight, they're still alerting us to that's off. That's not normal. That's not, dogs are supreme at patterns. So like, you go out, like, that's not normal. That's not a person who's supposed to be in that van. Like, that's abnormal. Like, you go out there, like, so yeah, you're gonna line up barking. That's all it's gonna take. I mean, people, why do you think police say we're gonna send in the dog if you don't come out? Like, there could be 100 cops out there all pointing guns at the suspect, and he's not moving, but they say you're gonna send a dog. People have a little bit of inherent instinctual fear of the beast, of the animal. So a lot of times, suspect, okay, I'm coming out. I'm like, don't send the dog, you know, because so yeah, all we gotta hear is a dog barking. It's like, oh, like, 'cause we don't know if that dog is about its business or if it's just barking.
I may or may not have been chased by a poodle dog before. Yeah.
So you would know.
That's interesting though, that because you let it, like I let Kim outside and go to the bathroom or something. He knows the pattern. He knows what to expect everywhere in the backyard. But if something is different, if something is off, that's when they alert. I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Dogs are super sensitive to their environment, their surroundings, but we bred that in them. That's I mean, thousands of years ago, like, they heard a noise out beyond the scope of the light of the fire of our camp, like, they're perking up. And then we would, of course, go grab our spears and our shields or rocks or whatever the hell we had, and we would go investigate, you know, so, and then they would fall back because we're not doing our job. Their job's to alert first and foremost. We start breeding dogs and teaching them now to go take care of it for us, but initially it was just an alert. Like, what is it? You know,
We're just getting lazy now. We're
Yeah.
just like, you guys do both.
Yeah. No, do it all. You alert, you make the decision, you go do the things. We're good, but no, they're very good at patterns. And like, you know, I tell clients, like, especially clients when they're moving. I have some clients that are moving now. And, there's a process that I go through with people, especially with very anxious, nervous dogs. Anyway, when they're gonna move, so that we don't throw that dog off. Because think about humans, moving's no big deal. We just pack our shit up, put it in boxes, put it in the trucks, and go. To a dog, we're packing up their whole environment. There's boxes stacked up. That's different, and now a new environment, and everything's different. So moving can be very stressful for dogs.
When did I move? July? I moved in July last year. At the time, June. At the time, I had, I don't know how many dogs. 23 dogs, but 16 of them were puppies. So not only was it hard for the moms to move them, but they fucking were puppies. Like, they did pretty good though. But yeah,
That was well. You guys were committed.
yeah, some of them were 4 weeks old. So that was, I wouldn't want to do it again.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But it's just a lot of stress on all
Yeah,
dogs.
a lot of stress on dogs. And we kind of take it for granted that, like, I was just moving, but like, dogs' perception, dogs are very sensitive animals, you know, like, to change and patterns and something's off. Like, and I'll purposely do it with dogs sometimes, where I'll purposely displace their patterns, their expectations by, you know, normally we feed in the evening, afternoon, evening. Sometimes I'll switch it up and we'll feed in the morning, just to switch up the pattern in a positive way, so that they don't start to just settle in the pattern and 3 o'clock comes around, they start getting excited. If that starts happening, I'm switching the pattern, you know, so that they don't get into the habit of being excited around feeding time. You know, so I'll switch the pattern often with dogs, and it keeps me relevant as well. Like, it keeps them on their toes. Like, wait, are we doing something else? I better pay attention to instead of just this is what we do all the time. So, yeah.
A lot of times when we talk about this kind of shit, I think about what I do at home with my dogs. So,
Because we're creatures of habit too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but one way to become more relevant with the dogs, one way to like help dogs handle stress of change is deliberately switch up the pattern. You know, in little ways. You know, so I'll take dogs that are a little bit very very sensitive and don't handle stress, and purposely switch up their patterns. You know, so in structured ways, of course, but so that they can now start to handle stress. Because any pattern change to a dog is a little stressful, right? So
Dude, I'm like the most random person.
that's good.
My dogs are probably living good.
But that's good. That means they're all. That means in a sense they gotta pay attention to you because they don't know.
What do you think about, like, do you have dogs that like you more than Lisa?
Yeah.
Or like why do dogs do that?
That's a good question.
Like, why do they favor?
Why
Like,
they
Camel
gravitate-
favors Amy for sure.
Rather gravitate towards one person over the other. That's a really good question.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Is it food? Is it who feeds? Is it...
Nah, not
Could
necessarily.
it be like the kid?
Yeah, I mean,
Oops.
it's,
Sorry about that, guys.
I mean, I don't really have the exact answer. If I had to look at it, what I would say is it could just come down to energy. I mean, that's probably the best answer. Like sometimes think about people. So I always try to like, okay, if I'm trying to puzzle out something with a dog, where's it similar to people, and how can I puzzle that out? Does that make sense? So some people you just click with right away, right? Some people you're friends with, you have a relationship with, but you don't just vibe like right off the bat, you know, like. So it's a little bit like that. I mean, at the end of the day. Now, that said, like, I'm valuable to a lot of dogs because I provide clear, consistent communication and direction. That's valuable. You know, so I'm not coming in and telling them no and correcting them. I'm providing everything that they need as a dog and giving them clear, consistent direction on everything. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. I'm providing everything for you. So I'm taking the burden of this crazy, stressful human world that dogs experience, taking all that off them, and you just need to be a dog. I'll handle everything else. So I become valuable. And I also don't always speak when I first meet a new dog. I don't talk to them. So I create the relationship based on their level of communication and giving them their space a lot of times. And so I immediately look at me like, dude, what do you want? Anything you want. You know, their parents are like, we just drop them off and they just want to go see Uncle Tim. Like, you know,
What if it's value?
a lot of it's value. What do you bring to the table? Dogs are selfish animals. Dogs are all about what's in it for them. So like, what you bring to the table?
Big
You know?
ears.
I mean, think about it. Like a lot of people will free feed their dog, and that's one of the first things I change. Like, so you just put the bowl of food down, and it's always full there. What value do you bring to the table? You're not ever connecting with your dog. Like the food's just there. Like they don't realize like
Y'all
that you
listening?
went down to the Pitbull store, bought a $65 bag of food, and you put it in the bowl. No, they just know that whenever they're hungry, the bowl's there and it's full of food. Whether you're home or not, whether you're alive or not, like you ain't bringing any value. You know, so the way that I feed creates a value and a relationship and a moment around the food. Like acknowledge that I provide this for you. That's all I'm looking for. Acknowledge that I work to buy you a very high quality food, and I not only do I purchase it, but I'm constantly looking at food and researching it. Is this the best for my dog? And maybe I'll try this. There's a lot of energy, just the food alone.
I think for me, we had, when was the last time we did this? Like a month ago?
Yeah.
And I got Joker within that time. And being an older dog, that was one of the biggest things that I'm trying to do with Joker alone, is connect with him through me feeding him. So I'll feed him, and then I'll just spend it, you know, I'm not like, oh, here's a bowl and just I dump
Yeah.
out. I spend a little bit of time with him, so he realizes when food comes from me, especially with him being an older male. And so
And he can be intense. Like he can be intense.
but that's important. I used to feed a lot, just probably laziness.
Yeah.
Honestly, but
And that's why a lot of people do it. And I'd say a lot of people do it because of laziness, but a lot of people just do it because they're like, well, like because we think in human terms, like, well, we have access to the fridge. If we're hungry, we just go get something. They want a dog to have access to food, but whenever they're hungry, just go eat. We're missing an opportunity there, you know. And so there's relevancy and value. But yeah, it is. A lot of it has to do with value.
lot of people that come to the store get free feed. Yeah. You're like, oh, my dog is like foodie boy. Well, after you finish the conversation, they free feed and they give them chicken all the time. It's
Yeah.
like, well, my dog will get dog food.
Yeah, they cook chicken and rice,
Yeah.
and ground meat.
Yeah. And
Well,
I think also your question about like how do you know like they have to get or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, here's one dog.
And then if like why they might gravitate towards one person or the other. Again, I think it does. It goes back to value, it goes back to energy, but also value. Like, what do they want at that moment? Like, sometimes my dog's gonna gravitate towards Lauren, towards my girlfriend, for whatever reason. She might be giving them more attention or whatever. Dogs are selfish.
I
It's
think I'm
okay.
more calm.
Yeah, and sometimes she's more calm. You know, sometimes she's a little bit more like just relax. She's a little more tranquilo. Like, hey, just chill out. Like, it's okay. I got it. You just go sit down. So, you know, but again, that's energy as well. Like sometimes I've had a day stressed out or whatever. You know how it is. And
Do you still train when you feel that you're like exhausted or you're stressed or frustrated, any kind of
I
emotion?
really try not to. I don't. I might work my own dog. I might take my own dogs for a while.
Because I don't work any
Yeah.
client dog without, like
Yeah.
if I just get frustrated when I come home, I'm just like, nope, I'm not even touching you.
Because the frustration is gonna prevent you from having any kind of ability with that dog. Like they're just gonna be like, wow, like they don't know why you're frustrated, but it's gonna come out.
It's gonna probably just like damage your confidence.
Yeah, damage the it really hurts the relationship potentially. You know, like you're versus if you're calm and you're at peace with yourself, you're going about your business, you're able to communicate more effectively. Like you can't be as effective as you want to be if you're frustrated. And sometimes I'll put a dog on the treadmill if they need it, but most of the dogs run on the treadmill by themselves, like hands off, you know. But as far as like quiet dogs that need work, like no, I can't be frustrated. You know, even if I go into a session with a client and their dog, like I gotta breathe. I gotta just here we go. Like I gotta get myself right before we go in there. You know, and that's something that dogs have taught me to do as well over the years. Because I've had my share of anger issues over the years, and one thing that Lynn, my mentor, helped me develop is trainers would do a lot of threshold work with dogs, where we stop at the door, teach them to wait at doors and all these things, so that they don't door dash, because there are a lot of dogs out there that just run out the door. But also, if we think about when we leave the house with our dog, if we go out the door with our dogs, we're changing environments. So if our dog's excited because we got the leash on them, they're excited in the house. As soon as we hit the door, we're outside. The excitement's only going to get more intense, right? It's not going to, okay, we're outside. It's going to be like, so I got in the habit, and this helps me with clients when I'm working with them, when maybe I'm a little frustrated, a little off, whatever it is. I need to get myself right before I enter that environment. Just like I do with a dog, I want a dog to be calm and polite and on the same page with me when I'm in the house before I leave the house. Before I go into that house or into that session, I gotta breathe. I gotta meditate for a second and breathe and relax and get this right before I go into that. Because if I carry something from what happened in the morning or what happened at the last session, if I carry that into there, that's not fair. That's not, and I'm not going to be as effective as I can be. I'm not going to be at my full potential.
At that point, you're just completing the task.
Yeah, I'm just going through the motions. And there's way too many people out there that go through the motions, and I'm way too passionate to do that. So
I feel like I'm the same.
you know, so you gotta.
Yeah.
So it's good practice to like, okay, where's my head at right now? How to get in the game, or cancel the appointment, don't go to the game. I owe that. My clients are paying me, but I owe it to the dog because that dog needs my help. You know, the clients need help to help their dog, but that dog needs my help. Like they didn't just call me because their dog doesn't know how to sit and lay down. That dog needs my help. You know, so I gotta get my mind right. So
Majority of your calls, the dog can tell no.
yeah, most of them.
Yeah, I try to send you as much.
Dogs like fighting the house, dogs resource guarding, you know. And the thing is like when you have dogs fighting in the house, and it's a couple, a human couple, there's problems with the human couple because of the dog situation. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's normal, and so like I'm able to come in, I can and set some things in place and give directive and start building the structure and take the pressure off of everybody. Because in those situations, the dogs are feeling pressure, the humans are feeling pressure. It's just it's a mess. So we gotta, and sometimes we just don't. We got so much pressure we can't see through it. Like, so I'm gonna say, let's do this, so everybody can breathe. The dogs can breathe, the humans can breathe. Now we can start to move forward. But
Do you think that's becoming more common?
what's that?
Do you think that kind of stuff is becoming more common?
Yes. Most definitely.
I don't think it used to be like that.
No. Yeah, 100. I mean, what do you think about as far as like dogs, like problems in the house with dogs? You get calls.
I do get calls. I would say yeah, but I don't really mess with them. Like I said, I send them all to you, so I can't touch on it just because. But yeah, I can agree with you. Just yeah.
It used to be something able to handle it.
Yeah, because I'm sure you got busy right after Corona. I'm sure because everyone went out and got a dog because they were working from home.
I was in prison.
Oh. Well, I had a lot of customers.
There's still fallout from it.
Yeah, I had a lot of customers, and because they, it was just that.
Yeah, I got a lot of dogs right now that are 2 to 4 years old. You know, they're not so they have all the signs and symptoms of lack of socialization, which those signs and symptoms are anxiety and nervousness and fearfulness and reactivity to new things or new people. You know, out on leash, like these dogs haven't been out on leash since when they were puppies because everybody's locked down. And now they walk out on a leash. You got a 4-year-old dog, and it sees a person it's never seen before, and it didn't used to see people at all. And it's like, and that scares the shit out of people. You know, so
I like bringing my puppies here and my dogs
Yeah.
here because this 40-foot out is fucking
Ooh.
out.
Sure.
All sorts of stuff.
yeah, that's why I walk Joker up and down 43rd Ave. Like, I want to see how he
I don't think he was reactive at all.
No, he's good, solid. But no, I think problems in the home and behavior problems with dogs. Over the past my lifetime since my first dog when I was 5 years old, so the past 36 years, I am way more prevalent. In my opinion, there's several factors. Some of it really, quite frankly, has to do with economics, where Americans spend billions of dollars on our dogs every year. Billions. I mean, it's like the 3rd biggest industry. It's crazy what we spend on our dogs. So that's great in the sense, but we think our mindset is if we just buy our dogs everything that we think they want, they're gonna be happy.
Well, then they'll be a good dog.
And then they're gonna be a good dog. Let me just buy them stuff, and they're gonna be a good dog. Like, but I just bought you this collar and this combo. Like, why are you still growling at people when they come over? I'll buy you another one. And I'll buy you another one. Okay, so instead of
Did it like that one?
yeah, you're like, okay, maybe I'll put some peanut butter in it this time for you. And so that's part of it, but also think about the past 4 decades, 3-4 decades of American life. Like, people are working more hours. Like, we're gone from the house more often. The average person, we're fortunate, we all work for ourselves. We can bring our dogs, we do all that stuff. But the average person working more hours, they're gone from the house more often. We have this lifestyle that's just go all the time. We don't just stop to slow down, and our dogs are caught up in the wake of that. Things are just fast, and so dogs trying to process this, and also not getting their needs fulfilled. Because buying shit for dogs isn't a fundamental need for dogs. It's cool, but what are we providing for them? Like, so I think the combination of those things, that's kind of the culprit behind a lot of, like, because there's been increasingly more behavior. I mean, the dog training industry has blown up in the past decade. I mean, it's huge. So there's a reason. It's not that just everybody wants to be a trainer. There's a need for it. I mean, there's a need for it. So, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. That's part of my mission, or whatever it is, to educate people on just fulfilling your dog's needs.
That's what I was gonna say. I think it's knowledge.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the dogs that people got in 2020 or whatever, like they would come in, their dog would fucking be barking, raising hell, and they'd be like, calm down,
Right.
petting it.
Or they pick it up. It's
Yeah,
okay.
and then like,
Yeah.
and I think you started saying like, don't do that. You know, you're
Yeah.
rewarding the behavior.
Yeah.
And we still see it.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, I mean, we all correct it, but.
Yeah, and it is. That's a knowledge thing, and when you let someone know that, and then you explain it, then it clicks, and they're like, oh, it makes sense. And
I probably used to do it. I guarantee at some point I probably did.
I used to. Same 12 years ago. Yeah, I used to. My Bella's she's nasty on the end of a leash, man. Like, and I'd be like, Bella, it's okay, and I would pick her up because it was just easier than dealing with her reacting to dogs. You know, and it's okay, Bella, and I didn't know what I know now, and I would try to redirect her with treats, which is, she reacted, making her nails bleed because she'd claw on the ground so hard trying to get at him, and I got her in a harness, Bella, and I got a treat like in front of her face, and she'd be like, and then go back to it. Like, she literally getting rewarded for that, but I didn't know what I didn't know. You know? And it's also a matter of, like, when dogs have behavior issues, the first thing I look at is, you know, what type of exercise are they getting? What type of access to explore the world are they getting? And what type of socialization are they getting? Usually, in my experience, usually a dog that has behavior issues, at least 2 of those are lacking.
Well, it's boredom, isn't it?
Yes.
They just are
Yeah.
just fucking
Yeah.
bored, you know?
You gotta give a dog something to do. Like, otherwise, they're gonna choose to do something you probably don't want. You know, like, all the things, digging behaviors, tearing shit up in the house, like barking incessantly, like they're bored. You know, and we don't necessarily understand that, and again, it's knowledge. It's like we just said, like, oh my god, we just stop. Like, well, with all respect, like, you got the dog. Like, the dog's telling you it's bored. Like, and you're trying to tell it knock it off. And that's not fair. You know? So, but it's knowledge. And I try to educate people that your dog needs something from you. That's why he's doing these behaviors. You know, and these are the things he needs, and these are how we can implement them. So, because if he's not getting his needs met, I'll stand on this. If a dog is not getting proper socialization, and that could mean a lot of things, a dog's not getting enough high intensity exercise, and a dog's not getting the opportunity to go out and explore the world, I don't care how good a trainer you are, you're not going to change that dog's behavior. You might be able to cap some things and suppress some things for a time, but it's going to come back.
So it's still.
Yeah, it's still a fundamental need.
And it's funny because I wasn't doing that as a trainer until we met.
Right.
And I took his dog and I applied that plus what I already knew for show training,
Yeah.
and it fucking worked.
Brings them.
So
Yeah.
on streets. So that's why now all my training sessions, when I board and train them for show training, the first 2 weeks is just us 2 walking.
That's it. Go explore. What exercise? You got some exercise.
Like, I don't even charge the clients now. Like, it's just like this. I need your dog 2 weeks prior to show training because we're just gonna walk.
That's building a relationship. You now have value to that dog because you're providing something.
Yeah.
That
And
it
his
hasn't
dog-
been getting.
Yeah, I think Streets likes to go over to his house.
His dog just
And that's-
like,
Yeah.
works. She works with me,
Yeah.
and she just works.
But look at you're providing her exploration,
Yep.
some exercise,
Yep.
socialization. Socialization doesn't mean dogs have to play. They simply just be around other dogs or other people. And then, so those are the 3 needs. And then you're also giving her direction. You're teaching her something new. You're like, we're gonna do this now. That's the cherry on top. Like, oh, the obedience and like weight pulling, and whatever you want to do with your dog, whether it be dog sport or obedience or competition, or that's all cherry on top. You meet those 3 fundamental needs, you have value to your dog.
Yeah.
Because I do the same thing. When a dog comes in, they learn a treadmill right away, so that's high intensity exercise. I just got a German Shepherd, a year old. She's adoptable. She's actually a beautiful dog. She spent the first year of her life tied up outside. So she's learned the treadmill. Starting tomorrow, she's already started to get socialized with my dogs. Probably Thursday, I'll take her out. She's gonna be on a 50-foot line, and we'll go explore. I'm not gonna talk to her or give her any instruction. Just have 50 feet of freedom.
You do that a lot, huh? So
Yeah.
you put Thor on a big,
Yep.
big ass.
100-foot leash.
Yep.
But so what I wasn't doing was when we would go on walks, I wasn't letting them explore. I was keeping them at my hip until the last time that we were all sitting back
Yeah.
here. And you said that they need to explore.
And it's little shit like
So,
that
yeah.
that clicks
Yeah.
and makes sense, and then you do it, and it
It's
works,
just
and then you're just like,
You're like,
what
oh
the
shit,
fuck?
what I've been doing this whole time. It's a little thing.
Here's a dog she tries to go after it. She is dog aggressive. So that's the downfall with her. 'Cause like I used to take her into Mesa all the time, and she got better, and then she got way worse to where she's trying to get out the door to get at dogs and everything else.
Why did she get way worse though? What happened?
I don't know.
We got Thor.
Okay.
That could be it.
Yeah, so
That could
so
be it.
no, that you're right. So whenever somebody says like, my dog, like 6 months ago he started being reactive to people. Okay, so he wasn't reactive to people before. No, not really. Then I'm off. Whenever a dog has a significant behavior change that's marked like that, I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
Because dogs don't just randomly for no reason just change like that. There's something that triggers it, and so that's there's change, and most of the time it's something changes in their life. You know, whether grandma moves out of the house or grandma moves into the house or whatever. There's also a new dog comes in or a dog dies. You know, and maybe it's a 2-dog house and 1 dog dies. Now that's change. It can be unsettling. So whenever dogs have those behavior changes and something gets worse significantly, I'm always like, okay, what happened? So
And
if we
with Jade was Nathan's dog, and then when we got Thor became Nathan's dog, and Jade was just
okay.
She did something less than with her kid.
Gotcha.
Literally packed her shit
Yeah.
open in his
So
room.
with her, like she needs something. Like she's acting out. Her world got destabilized a little bit. Her pattern got thrown off, and that's stressful. So she, as a dog that's been reactive to dogs, she has a diminished capacity to handle stress anyway. And so unless we help her expand that capacity to handle stress and create new patterns for her, and this is how we want you to be, she's gonna get worse, you know. And so because their dogs, the behavior, the science behind it is not path of least resistance. Whatever keeps working in their brain, that neural pathway, that's what it's gonna fire on. This is what I do every time I see a dog, and in that channel, that groove in their brain gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until we interrupt that and change and start creating a new pathway. And it takes time to do that because now that new one, we have to get deep too while this one goes away, right? And so that's the science behind the behavior change, but we have to give her direction and be consistent with this pattern over time, and then that old one will fade. So,
Yeah, I do that to myself.
it's human, it's just it's neuroscience, but yeah, she had some upsets, she had some behavior changes. She's acting out, and there's probably a little bit of a lack of fulfillment there on some level, you know. So I mean, when was the last time you took her on a 100-foot line?
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
Like,
Yeah.
so
I tried that. She's not lazy enough, so she sits down.
right, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That the purpose of my purpose behind long line, and I've had clients where I get their dog on a 50-foot line, and they're like, why is she right next to me? How do I get her to go explore? And I'm like, it's her choice.
That's what she wants to do.
it's okay. That's what she want to do. That's what she want to do. Just walk. Enjoy the fact that you're basically walking her off leash right now.
Yeah.
There's all slack. There's no tension. She's walking right with you. If she wants to go explore, she will. You know. And some dogs take some time to do that because maybe their confidence is a little low. Maybe their world got a little shook. So they're like, you know what? I don't want to venture too far away from you. But over time, okay, maybe they'll venture out 5 feet or 10 feet or 20 feet and then come back to you. That's a good thing. That's progress. So put her on the line. Even get a 25-foot line. Put her on the line and start to give her what she needs a little bit. You know, like because there's probably some lack of fulfillment there. You know, she's acting out. She's not getting what she needs. She's not getting what she's used to getting. Right. So.
You're gonna go home and do that, huh?
Probably. Maybe not tonight, maybe tomorrow morning. Because I still gotta stop by it. Surprise.
But that's what I mean. That's what I would say. Like and that's like I know we'll talk some more, but like I'm gonna ask you like what's going on with her? Where's she lacking as far as fulfillment? And then we can pick that up. We can create some structure in the house for you until she gets her confidence back up and she feels once again comfortable in her own home. So,
And I'm not gonna lie, the lack of fulfillment for her is probably a lot more.
Gotcha.
You know, because if we do take her on a walk, it's like around the walk. It's not. I mean, she gets tired really fast. She's overweight. You know, she needs more exercise, which is something that's hard for us to give to her, you know, on a consistent basis.
more exercise and less food.
Yeah, well, I cut back her
Yeah,
food.
that's
like
good.
6 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still a little overweight.
So yeah, I mean that's honest. I mean, people are honest and they're aware of things. I'm working too often. Like it's when people are like, I'm like, listen, I'm the expert here. You can argue with me all you want.
You know, think about it though. It's like asking them, like, when was the last time you put her on one? They're like, fuck. Why haven't I done that?
I think like the last time that I put her on, because we have 200 foot leashes, and the last time that I put her on one was the first time I put him on one.
Wait, that's how long ago?
It was a long
Yeah,
time
that's a
ago.
while. Yeah.
But like she literally just laid there. We'll take her out, and I won't even put, like she'll have her leash on, and her leash will be laying down next to her, so she can venture out if she wants to. But she doesn't. She normally just stays right there.
Right. In that case, I'm getting her moving. Like we're moving. Like
We're both walking.
We're moving. We're walking. Like you kind of got a choice. I can drag you, or you can get up and walk. Let's go, girl. Let's move it. Like let's do this. We are moving today. This is the day that we change. And we're moving. You know.
We all going on a diet.
I
Yeah,
can afford to lose a couple
let's go.
pounds too, so.
Let's go. We all going on Pitbull Store walks.
But it's also for her too. It's probably you know we want to get her some good experiences around dogs rather than reactive experiences, and teach her a different way to be, because in her brain sees dog and it triggers that same pathway. I see dog and I react. You know, so and that's based on her experiences through life, most likely. You know, whatever it's been, however she's perceived dogs that she's interacted with. You know, dogs don't have to fight to have a negative experience. You know, we could take a dog to a dog park and they walk in. We could take a very shy dog, take him to the dog park, and they get mobbed by 10 dogs. They're all smelling them, and maybe there's no fight that breaks out. But what kind of experience did that shy dog just have? Like,
You lost the shit.
what?
Try
Man?
not to do that to.
Yeah, like that's a negative experience right away, and you know, and then yeah, they might open up and play, and that turns into a positive. But holy smokes, like think about it in terms of if any one of us walk into, we get invited to a house party, and we walk in, and 50 people come to the door, and they're like, "Hey, Kel, what's up, man? How you doing?" 50 people right away. I'm like, "Oh shit." Yeah, right. You know,
I'm the
the
same.
places are too
I
crowded
hate
for me,
that.
I'm like, I gotta go. But on the other side of that, if someone say, if I'm having a party at my house, you're like, okay, what time does it start? I'll start at 7. Like, if you're anything like me, you're showing up at 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
You might show up at 6. If you're the first one there, you get to lay the land. Okay, I'm comfortable. And now you're not going to get mobbed by a bunch of people. You're going to get one person, 2 people coming in. Hey man, how you doing? Well, that's easier for socially.
It's just slowly open the windows.
That's easier for socially awkward dogs or for reactive dogs to start to process and deal with rather than like, whew, holy smokes, you know. So it's about what her perception is, you know. And, yeah, dogs don't have to break out in a fight to have a negative experience. She could be telling us with her body like, I'm not really comfortable right now. You know? And if that wasn't listened to early in her life, that can start to cause a dog to be outwardly reactive, rather than defensive. Like that might be her tendency. Maybe in some dogs that's their nature, but then they learn like, okay, that didn't work to make me more comfortable, so now I'm going to put on this display. You know, go away. You know, so it's about getting her good experiences, about getting her back on the long line, get her out exploring. Set up some structure in the house too. You know, start to bring her up, start to bring him off of his pedestal a little bit, you know. And I see you with him, like he runs the show with you, like he really does. And that's a strong, powerful, physically powerful, but also mentally strong, mentally powerful dog. Breed. So we wanna bring him down to where it's not about you being strong enough to control him, it's about you having a relationship where he listens and cooperates with you. And then same thing for her, just on a different avenue. So
That was when Camo was. When did we just walk on first like? A year?
Yeah, I think
He was younger, and cause I mean so we were just walking around because it was good month. Yeah. And so he was chilling one day, and this drunk dude, like, yeah, he would like got up in Camo's face because everybody sees him, they just want to like, and like ever since that time, Camo does not like you can tell when Camo's done, he'll just look at you, and you can tell he's like mentally like, I'm out.
Take me home.
Yeah. And it's ever since that drunk guy was like in his face that he
because
does
he stepped over him.
No, that was a Nike. Some guy stepped over him, and he was like 2.5 years old, and he fucking jumped up and started barking. But the guy who shouldn't have done that.
no, that's kind of rude. You know, like.
But he didn't get in any sort of fight. But that, in his experience, that drunk guy, you know, that couple that's with him, you know.
Dogs experience trauma events just like we do, you know, like, and then it can change how they behave, change their reaction, change their perception of the world, and it's up to us to guide them past that, through it, and then past it, you know. And depending on the severity of it, depending on how long they practice, kind of reliving that and reacting because of that, determines how hard it is to change it and how permanent, how total that change can be. You know, if a dog has been dog reactive based on maybe it's got lots of fights in its life and been attacked by other dogs many times, and it's 6, 7, 8 years old, and all it's done is now react to dogs. Like that's gonna be. I'm honest with people. I'll tell them like I can get your dog to 90% maybe 95, but it's in him to be reactive. You can never trust him 100% around other dogs. Like he's had this much practice for these many years and these many experiences that have been pretty intense. It's not reasonable, and anyone who tells you that it's how I can fix him 100%, they're fucking lying to you. Like and quite frankly, it's dangerous because they're telling you that they can get your dog to 100%. Most of the time, they use very strict obedience and operant conditioning on the dog to where that obedience, for most of the time, 9 times out of 10, will override that behavior. But that 1 time out of 10, you're gonna fire. The obedience is gonna go out the window because it's still there.
7, 8 years for a dog is fucking. That's a
Long time.
Yeah.
Long time to try. Think about us. If we habits that we have. I mean, how long have you smoked?
Dude,
Yeah, see? Right. How hard is it gonna be to quit? You could, but you we've had a lot of years of practice. And it's not so much about the chemical, it's the process of it. It's the process of it. It's the ritual of it. Dogs, same thing. They have a
Can I start calling it practicing skills?
yeah. This is my ritual.
And you're not taking one every 15 minutes.
Right? I gotta go do my ritual. It's a religious thing.
Yeah, I mean, when you practice something so long, it's no matter what it is.
Yeah, it becomes very difficult to change permanently. Because, you know, so
I don't
especially.
think you can change it.
I mean, I take myself for example. Like, I have reactivity issues. Like I have for most of my life. Like that have been practiced at a high level, quick fire, all these things. Why I understand dogs the way I do partially. It's in me. Like I have grown a lot and I've matured a lot and I've done a lot of work on myself and with help with professionals over my lifetime. That I'm much better than I was, but I'm still fighting. At the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, I can just let things slide. But 1 time out of 10, I'm gonna get fired up. That's it's in me. You know, there's some people that have never experienced that kind of reactivity, and maybe their thing is they clam up and they just get really small and they just let things happen and they don't say a word. They're non-confrontational. That's their practice. So to get someone like that to stand up tall, stand on their own 10 and say something, very difficult too, because that's not what they have practiced doing. It's going to take a long time for them to practice doing that to override their natural, what they practice their whole life. So they can get better at it, and we can get better at it, and we can get dogs better at it. But to say a dog's going to be perfect, one of the things I tell people when and I'll tell you guys, when there's dogs that have fought in the house, you know, people are like, we just don't want to be fighting. And I tell people straight away, accept that they're going to fight again. Because if we can accept that they're going to have a disagreement, and when I say fight, there's kind of all different levels. So even a disagreement, accept that there's going to be conflict between those two animals again, and now, if we accept that and we acknowledge that, we can now move forward and start to be proactive in changing the whole situation. But if we're so stuck that, okay, don't fight again, I don't want you to, we're literally saying, when you say don't fight again, what am I saying? Fight again. Drop the don't off and I'm saying fight again. So if we accept that it's going to happen, okay, this is what we're going to do to ensure that their capacity and safety and comfort in the house is elevated.
That makes you more aware, right? Like if you, because I used to have 2 females. They would just sporadically for some freaking reason. They live together all the time, but once in a while they just get in a fight. Like,
Yeah.
But I mean, if you just, he's so funny. Yeah, you're less aware, right?
Yeah. You're kind of just living on hope. You know, instead of like, okay, like, if I don't like the energy with you, like, in your casa, you know, period. Like, we can be proactive, or we can be aware that, like, okay, we've been busy, man, we haven't had the dogs out to go exercise, haven't had them explore for a while. Like, their fulfillment's kind of lacking, which means their stress levels are higher. So, what can we do to make sure that they are still safe and comfortable? And sometimes that means going back to a rigid structure. And you guys are in your casas for a while. Life's busy right now. We're going to do the best we can for you. But when their stress levels are up because their fulfillment's down, we have choices. We can just live on hope that, well, we'll just leave them out, hopefully. Or, you know what, recognize and accept that this is where they are. And that way, they don't get to practice having the disagreements, having the fight, because we're not allowing it to happen. And simply not practicing a behavior is one way to extinguish it. You know? But if they're allowed to practice it, then it's one more practice. Versus if we don't even allow it to begin with, that neural pathway doesn't get fired. So that's, yeah, I mean, our girls, my 2 girls, my 2 oldest girls, like, they really love each other. They are sisters. Like they love each other. Like they'll hang out together. They lay on the couch together. But once in a while, they just have a disagreement, and it's loud, and it might be a little cut on their head, but no one's going to the hospital or anything like that. But it's loud and it's nasty, and it lasts about 10 seconds, and I'm like, "Hey, knock it off!" And they're like, "Oh." And then they go smell each other, and then next thing you know, next day they're out in the sun again.
Sometimes I wonder is how many people let their puppies go super young, right? And they learn a lot of stuff from what, 6 to 12 weeks, or 8 to 12 weeks? So are a lot of these dogs missing the piece to where their mom is, I don't want to say whooping their ass, but putting them in check, you know, because that's, I mean,
Mom or siblings.
yeah, they're siblings, yeah.
Sure.
I don't know, because I mean, dogs were 4 weeks old, you know, they didn't learn shit
Yeah.
from nobody at that age.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and so they.
Biting, playing, that's what we built those little obstacles. We would have bins full with cans, empty cans, and just run around in there, noises and music and disagreements and all kinds of stuff. At least at my house.
I read research when I was away. I'll have to find it, but it said that if in the first, I want to say 6 months of a dog's life, you can expose them to 50 new dogs and 50 people. They will be well socialized for a lifetime. That's a lot of dogs. It is and it isn't. I mean, it is and it isn't. I mean, I have 24 dogs in my house almost every Wednesday. You know, that's half the battle right there. People, you know, so. And I have a client, she's getting a new Doberman, and I told her, I said, once he has all the shots, bring him, you know, like bring him, get him socialized, because her other Doberman is super socially awkward, like really bad. So I'm working with her right now on that, but yeah, bring him. And I'm gonna, based on that research, I'm gonna invite her whenever I take a dog out in public or anywhere. I'm gonna call her, get your dog, let's go. Get your dog, let's go. She's she does work from home, but get your dog, let's go. Get your dog, let's go. Like, I'm gonna make sure that dog gets out.
I think it's interesting because when I got Violence, the female was saying that quarter press up. I started doing research on just that breed because I've always had a pit bull.
Yeah.
And I mean, each breed, their characteristics are very, very different. You know, it's fun. It's interesting. Yeah, stuff. That's crazy.
50 dogs.
So can I count the 12 dogs I have over and over?
No. I mean,
I don't know, 48, day 4.
one time. No. But I mean, I look at it this way, like 50 is a lot for most people. 50 people to expose them to. I mean, I don't know 50 people that, but
I don't like it.
yeah, I don't like 50 people. There's probably not 50 people like me, so that's okay. But
in the store, you get 50 plus people.
yeah, absolutely. It's a good outlet for that, you know. And even something like I have a client. I told her, I said, yeah, when it gets hot, we'll take him to Chandler Mall and work in there. She's like, you can take dogs to the mall. I'm like, hell yeah, free air conditioning. We'll go walk around the mall and work him in there all day. She's like, God, so you can take your dog to the mall, get them their shots, take them to the mall, Home Depot,
We do
Lowe's.
Home Depot.
Yeah, you know, so get them out and expose them to people. If people want to say hi, yeah, dude, say hi to my dog. The more people are exposed to it at the earliest age possible, the better socialized they're going to be. You know, the more noises, the more sights and sounds. But, you know, that's part of the problem with COVID is people were inside. Everything was locked down. You know, so.
Many times I tell people, just bring your dog here to the store, just hang out.
Yeah, yeah.
Hang out. You know, you'll see people and dogs.
Yeah. So there you go. Anyone listening, like, get your dog out. Take them to Pitbull Store and hang out. Like, there's,
Kind of makes sense.
I mean,
Right.
come to Mesa, come to Phoenix, like, come down, like, hang out. There's always people coming in and out. There's dogs coming in and out. Like, it's a dog store. It's dog friendly. Like, come in. Your dog piss on the floor. Ain't no big deal. Like, no one's gonna be like, oh God. It's not a prissy dog store. It's just come
I hand you
in.
the towels though.
Yeah, bring your paper down. And bring your food back. You know, but yeah, use these opportunities.
Yeah.
Like, think about, like, we're out running errands. Like, most places in Arizona allow you to take your dog mixers.
Honestly, tomorrow I'm going out to surprise the world. I'll probably bring Violet to maybe just to go to Walmart. She needs.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't know. It's loyalty for me with dogs.
I can't get them for Walmart. I don't know dogs.
Walmart? Through Walmart?
I have. I've taken both of our dogs inside Walmart. They don't say anything.
I'll take
I
it.
do hold
I'll take them everywhere. I walk in Safeway. I walk everywhere. Like whatever. No, but it for me it's loyal. It's loyalty and it's I don't know, man. It's loyalty and trust, which are similar. Like I'm not the most trusted person, but I trust dogs 100%. Like a dog has never been malicious towards me, never done me wrong, never like. And I've been bit by dogs, but it's not personal. They're not like this motherfucker. I'm gonna get him right now. Like they're not plotting and planning. Like
It sucks because it's never the dog's fault.
it's not a dog's fault. Every time I've been bit, it's not a dog's fault. Like it's something the dog needed to do and experience with me, so I could show him that behavior doesn't work, and I understand it and I accept it. And it's okay and we move on. But yeah, the loyalty, like I mean, I think about Teddy. So we're talking about protectiveness. Teddy, I remember I had a condo in Mesa. And I had a friend, we had a patio, we're on the bottom floor, sliding glass door, Teddy's inside, I had a friend coming over, and he didn't know my friend, and he comes in the gate in the patio, and he came in, he walked in first, I'm behind him, Teddy sees him, and like, launched at the sliding glass door, and I'd never seen him do that, and he went ape shit at my friend, like full on, like, black shepherd looking dog, just banging on this side, and I was like, Teddy, whoa, 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 and he sees me, and he's like, finally calm down. And also talk about loyalty and protection. It's like, he didn't know who that was. He just knew, like, I don't know that person, and they're at my house. I mean, would he have done something had I opened the door? I don't know, but I know that if someone were to ever jump over that wall and I'm not there, they're jumping back over the wall real quick. They see a black shepherd hitting that window like that. Oops, that's the wrong condo I'm gonna go to.
My cousin did that. So I have two cousins and brothers. My older cousin put a hoodie on, jumped the fence to see what his dogs would do because he has boxers. His fucking boxers tucked their tails and ran back. Like, I want those dogs.
See ya.
They were gone.
That's funny. I think probably if we talk about like 100 people, 100 of them, loyalty would be somewhere in there. You know, like
Comfort's a big one for me too. Yeah. Comfort. I sleep better with the dog. But
Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought was right here yesterday, but shit.
what happened last night? You were answering like
Nothing. I just.
Yeah,
Oh,
what happened?
I let my dog sleep inside the house everywhere. Everywhere. But you know, it is a comfort thing because I have one dog in the house and one dog in the other entrance. I just thought I was gonna sleep better, but apparently not.
It's because you wouldn't have long islands. That's why.
By yourself? Dang.
I nobody.
Dang.
Usually drink by myself.
That's a good point. It comfort. I mean, I know when I got out, like I was like first time I had my dogs in bed with me, I like just took a nap on the bed, like I'm home.
It's so
Like when my dogs are like I have a kind of a weird concept with home. Like I really don't. Home is just. I mean, I felt most at home in prison, to be honest with you. But my dog, like where my dogs are, when I'm with my dogs, like that moment that I got home and they had it with me, like I'm home. It is comfort. It's security. It's not like security like I necessarily feel safe and protected all the time. It's just security. Secure. Like I'm secure in this relationship with this animal. No matter what, like I trust that.
We stay at a lot of hotels. And every time we go take a dog, it sucks. I second guess it every time. You know. But if we bring a dog, usually they end up sleeping in his bed or something like that. But just knowing the dog's there and like,
Yeah. California, took 2 dogs. One was getting adopted, so we delivered him, and then took another one of ours. Mostly because he can't be watched by anybody else right now. But it was cool having him. Like everywhere we went for, what were we there? 3 days, 4 days, I think. 3 days, and everywhere we went, he went with us. He stayed in the hotel with us. It's just, yeah, it's cool. Like, you know, like he kind of got a little vacation, kind of got a little leeway. Like,
Yeah.
you know, sleep up on a bed, and you know.
Our dogs get in and out on the road.
Yeah, so like you got to see the sights and sounds, Santa Monica, walk around. Got to eat outside. I mean, everywhere we pick restaurants so we can take him. You know, like so. Yeah, that's cool. Like I love traveling with dogs. It's you can ask her like it's hard for me to travel because I have so much anxiety leaving my dogs because like I am attached to them and it's like I don't like leaving my dogs. You know, like some of it's from going away and not having them, not saying goodbye, and knowing that like what if I don't come back type of thing. But it's hard leaving my dogs at home. It's hard. Like,
I'm glad we're not the only ones.
man, definitely not. It's hard. Like can't wait to get back. You know, that's part of the reason. Like some people like to travel. Like I don't like to travel. Like you know.
People that don't travel think it's nice to travel.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I really don't like to travel like because I don't like leaving my dogs. That's the primary reason. You know, like I want to leave.
Yeah, then you get a dog sitter and they suck.
True that.
ever
Yeah.
ever get a dog
Yeah.
sitter.
I've tried many dog sitters.
It's hard to find a good dog sitter.
Oh,
It's hard.
man.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard. If there's any good dog sitters out there,
Please.
holler, please.
Please, Pitbull Store, send a message.
Let us know because we all sometimes in need of a good dog sitter.
Shit.
Yeah.
I used to board a couple dogs, but the people that took them, they owned the boarding facility. I grew up with their son, so like I knew them. Like, you know, that's different. But I don't think I would trust anybody nowadays. Maybe like the people in this room and that's it.
Super hard.
I wouldn't
My
trust them.
thing with my dogs is I leave very simple, explicit instructions.
Yes, as
You know?
simple as
It's
dummy down.
I tell
It's
you,
to the point.
only 2 dogs at a time. Period. And this is the pair that comes out, and then this is the pair that comes out. That's it. If you do that, and the toys that are on the refrigerator don't come down.
We're
Like,
too particular.
Every-
That's the problem.
right.
Rosie can't go with nobody. No hair, no toys. Like
Yeah.
I mean, they're like children. Oh my gosh.
You know, like I'm just yeah, we are particular, but
Yeah.
we're being very protective parents. You know, we're leaving our dogs, our kids in a sense, with someone we only kind of trust.
My mom
Only
actually,
kinda.
my mom actually watched my dogs. She's like 50 something, I don't know, 60 maybe. And I was in feet. I was like, oh shit. But she did a good job. She did a
Yeah.
really good job. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was surprised.
See, I've had a bad experience. I was in New Mexico. This was years ago, or maybe 6, 7 years ago, when I had Sleepy, my American Bulldog, who was very dog aggressive, and he and my boy Arthur, they just fucking hated each other. Like, just hated each other. Well, I had a house sitter. She wasn't her first time, or second time, or third time house sitting. Well, I had cameras in my house, so I saw kind of what happened. She gets home to my house, and mind you, I'm in Las Cruces. She gets home to my house, and I get a call, and she's freaking out. She's like, Sleepy, Arthur, you got out of his kennel and this and that. And I'm like, okay, slow down, what happened? Like, old dog, tore. Sleepy's 85-pound American Bulldog. Arthur is my American Pitbull. Like, just, Arthur didn't like bigger dogs anyway. Like, he would just redline, just go, go. So I look back on the camera, like, she had Sleepy outside and didn't put him away and let Arthur out of his costume. And Arthur hits the doggy door, and I guess Sleepy was on the side of the house. So that, like, I had cameras out there, but she got big. Both dogs got tore up. And so I made it back from Las Cruces in like 2.5 hours. Something. I'm like 130, 140 the whole way. So back
That's
to
super fast.
Mesa, like middle, like at 9 o'clock at night, like I'm like, fuck, I'm getting back to my dogs. Like, and I told her, I said, put the dogs away. All right, she took him to one Arthur to the vet, I think, and go ahead, take him to the vet. I'm on my way back. She left him at the vet, so that was it. I said, just leave the key, lock the door, you're done. Because the thing was, she wasn't honest about what happened. She's like, I had him away, and I'm like, really? And I look back on the camera, I'm like, no, you had Sleepy outside, and then you let Arthur out.
And that's where you have trust issues. Because
Exactly, exactly.
Just, if it's fucked up, just say it.
Just say, you know, I thought I put Sleepy away. I forgot Sleepy was out there, and I let Arthur out. That's all you had to say. You are safe. I can understand that. You're probably not gonna watch my dogs anymore, but I'm not hot. Actually, I'm not mad. Like, yeah, I'm pissed. So, yeah. So that's part of the reason I got trusted. But yeah, they were tore up. You know, Arthur had like drains and shit. Like, here I am. I'm out there. I don't really know the extent of the damage. I'm trying to haul ass back. Like the whole ride is my heart. Like,
That stuff is violent. Dog
Yeah.
fights are very.
very, very violent. Lots of damage. They're man. Yeah. So yeah, man. What else? So I told you I'm waiting for Raven's spay paperwork proof, but I'm gonna get her an ADBA, the IPP, like it's like their fun class. So I'm gonna have him teach me how to show her.
Casey does the fun class too.
You do a fun class too?
Yeah,
I'll find out.
She's not paid or anything, but
No,
like,
I'll find out.
but I think it'd just be something fun for me to try. And like, she's fucking gorgeous. I love her look.
Just a little black one, right?
Yeah. I tried the other day. She gets up. She jumps up on the picnic table. I was like, "Come here, Ray. I'm gonna try to stack you." And she's like, "What are you doing?"
On the table?
Her head's all low, and I'm like moving her feet. And she's just like, "Just pick me up. Like, what are you doing?" Like,
Like that. Just grab me.
She's like, "What are you doing right now?"
Where did you get her at?
She is from Valley of the Sun Rescue.
Oh, that
Yeah, yeah.
we donated to them.
Yeah. Kathy runs a really good rescue. Like, I have a lot of respect for a rescue that will read over an adopter's application and see that they got like 4 or 5 dogs at home already and deny them. Like I appreciate that. Rather than just trying to move dogs out the door. I've seen Kathy probably say no as many times as she said yes, which is good. That's being an advocate and trying to do the best for her dogs. Because to me, someone who got like 5, 6, 7 dogs and you're not a dog professional in some way, shape, or form, like why?
So you get them from her, and then you send them out for adoption?
No, so Raven was sent to me because she has some reactivity issues, like mainly with men. She's got a couple like defensive bites in the face on men, and so she sent her to me to work with her and get her right. And then I just really we just fell in love with her. She's amazing with other dogs, and so that's good for me. I mean, my 2 girls are getting older. They don't always go out and socialize and work dogs. Raven will, and she does. But she's just a cool dog. She's to me, she's the look that I like. She's the temperament that I like. She's down for anything, and
Was she the one that you said lunge back?
Which one?
That was like barking at another dog and the owner got involved or something
Yeah,
like
lunge
that.
back and then
Lunge
bit
back
the
and
ear?
bit him.
No, that's Tonks. Yeah, that's Tonks. Yeah, so he's a long-term project. So he's come a long way, but but he's got some work to do. He's gonna be with me for a long time.
He's a big dog. Isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big boy. He's solid. He's super sweet, and he is fucking amazing. How he is with dogs is something so rare and so beautiful. And Lauren said, she said, maybe common purpose isn't for people. Maybe it's not the evil people. Maybe it's for dogs. And I'm like,
See, it's
you know
hard.
what?
They used to
Maybe.
say that stuff like
Maybe. And that's okay, like maybe some dogs have a small circle, just like people. It's okay, like not everyone got a big circle. That's alright. So we'll see. I mean, he's gonna be with me a while. He's very good with dogs. He's in a good place with me. My house, and so we'll see. But yeah, he can go 0 to 100 really quick, at the smallest, seemingly small. We actually had landscapers at our house yesterday, and I had him on leash and took him out there to work him. And the guy's out there blowing and talks. He hit red line a little bit. He won't react back on me, but he's like doing his best, shaking, teeth chattering, like audibly chattering, eyes fully dilated, you know. So I just sit there with him. And he's Pitbull. He's Pitbull mix. Yeah, but he's white, brown, mostly white with some brown spots. But yeah, he was fully aroused. We'll say that. You know, and that's a situation. Like I let him go, he is taking that guy 100%. So it's just a matter of the guy was out there. All I'm doing is having Tom just sit. I'm not talking to him. I'm just using a leash, having him sit. He gets up so he can just process that situation that caused him to become overwhelmed, and he did eventually come down. So which is good for him. So when he came down, we went back inside. That's it.
Well, it's like what you showed me with Joker the one day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Just gonna
Yeah.
process at this level. I'm gonna have him in a sit. I don't expect him to lay down. I'm not gonna do that. I just want him to sit. Just do that. He gets up because he's antsy, or he starts getting a little bit over tense. Like, relax, but chill. Like,
Yeah,
take it in.
because I want to show Joker, but I want that to come to
Yeah.
really low,
Yeah.
so that I'm able to control him better.
Yeah.
Because I really want to show him.
I think the biggest thing with him is his toys. Like you get toys, or something like that is what sets him. I think you put him in a show rate.
Because he was eating kibbles and bits, and I said, "Listen, that's killing him." When I first met him, he came out. His hair was like just nasty, kind of falling out, itch. He comes out like he's walking and he's already itching walking, and I'm like, "Oh boy, that's not a hot mess." His tail was like had a
Yep.
burn spot on
Yep.
it. You saw him, yeah. And so I'm
Dude,
like,
I'm so happy.
we
for
gotta
him.
switch his food. I said, that food's killing him. I said, switch him to Victor, Ocean Fish. It's at the Pitbull Store. That's what I switch all my client dogs to. I had really, really good success with it. And I mean, he's been on it maybe 3-4 weeks now, I think. And dude, his coat's already getting better. Like his weight's coming down now nicely. Like
Oh yeah, because he
gonna
was
be-
heavier.
He was heavy. Yeah. So
Oh,
like,
my- I'm
wait
so
till
happy
you,
for
wait
him.
till you. I'm gonna. I told her. I said, we're gonna go work him out in public here pretty soon, and so I'll bring him by. Like,
Yeah,
it'll be like,
you should reach out. I want to see,
Yeah.
because I couldn't even get him out the car.
yeah, he's
Because that's when I called you, because she came to me and I couldn't get him out the car for
Yeah.
nothing.
yeah, he's like happy, confident, like walking with her. He literally like they walk and she stops and he just sits and he's like,
What next?
yeah, and then they start walking again, perfectly right next to her. She says, "Let's go." He turns and goes with her.
Dude, that's
Like,
so
it's
awesome.
phenomenal. Like,
Because that's all she wanted.
Yeah.
She just wanted to give him a better life.
Yeah, she wants to be able to walk.
Just to walk.
I told her, I said, we're gonna go. I said, at some point we're gonna go like probably to brunch or breakfast and take him with him. She's like, what? Really? She's like, she could. I'm like, yeah, I do that with all my clients. She's like, oh my god, that would be so amazing. She's like, oh, I never even dreamed about doing that with him.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, he's gonna be great. Like, we can go enjoy breakfast and he can hang out on the patio.
Dude,
like,
that is awesome.
So her
The
whole
amount of
world
peace that
opened
she
up.
has.
Yeah,
I could only imagine the amount of peace that she has by
Dude.
that.
I'm mind blown. Like,
So
dude, that's all she wanted.
Yeah, that's her. Yeah, but that's and they're open to learning for themselves what they need to do.
And that's all she wanted.
That's
She
it.
wanted to get taught just this.
Yeah,
He's fine. Tails. good,
but
legs.
through this process, I've had to get through to her in some ways as far as how she's interacting with him. And
Yeah,
and have
'cause-
her step into the role that he needs her to be in, so she can have that. You know, so and she understands. She's been open to everything, and it's been really cool to see it. It's cool also. It's cool when I see that with any client, but particularly because you have powerful breed, very strong dog, 7-year-old lady, right? And so when people want to come at me with like, well, I can't walk it because he's just too strong. No, you don't have a relationship with him.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, he seems content. He
Dude,
seems
he's
comfortable.
just,
He seems
he's just so like, she's telling me like he likes to sniff at the porta potty and sometimes pees at it. And coming up is when I start talking, like tell her to relax a little bit. She's stiff, and he just sits and on and on. And I ask her, I'm like, are you using the remote? She's like, nope. I'm like, okay, cool. And that's the thing. Pack drive right now, meaning he's cooperating with her. He's packed up with her. He's not in prey drive retreat, excited state of mind. He's very relaxed.
She slows down, he slows down.
Yep. So that was the first time I think that was the first time he sat and she didn't tell her. She's not using leash pressure. She's not using the remote.
That's
She's
useful.
not using words. She's simply with her dog in the moment. That's it. And enjoying a walk.
Wow.
And he knows what
yeah.
is expected of him.
She has taught him and created the expectation and the relationship. She's led that charge, and he is happily just
Dude,
falling,
that's so
falling
amazing.
in line. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say because
Yeah.
I could not get him out the car.
And he's a big goof. Like, he's a super sweet, cool dog. Like, after his walk, we get back, and he's just like, he literally just lays on the floor on his dog bed, and he's out. Like,
dogs are so interesting.
What e-collar brand are you using?
I like educator e-collar
Yeah,
technologies.
Yep.
It's very reliable. It's never let me down as far as false
That's the
stimulation or
only
anything.
thing I could get out of that training school was like, okay, if there is an e-collar you would recommend, which one?
Yeah.
And so they told me that one. They signed me up for a class.
It's consistent with how it delivers stimulation. It's got vibrate. It's got tone. Yeah, that's what I use.